A little bit.
Like military, and then yeah.
So, I mean, what do you think about this? So, I mean, you were saying, well, men throughout history have been a bit more violent. So I saw this, I've seen the stat a couple times. So if we're looking at heterosexual couples, lesbian couples, and gay couples, we actually find that, for example, gay couples, so two men in a relationship, the rate of domestic violence is actually lowest amongst homosexual gay men. It's in the middle for heterosexual couples, and the incidence rate of domestic violence in lesbian couples is actually the highest.
Okay.
So that's an interesting thing, because when you have two men, you would think, well, men tend to be more violent. Why is it then that when you put two men in a relationship, the incidence of violence, domestic violence, is the lowest?
Okay, can I play devil's advocate?
When there's two women together, it's the highest.
Okay, can I play devil's advocate for a second?
Go ahead.
Okay, so we like to typically, I think, make out anyone who's, let's say, gay to be, well, they're more feminine. And then we look at women who are lesbian and we're like, well, they're more masculine. So is that what in the brain, what's making that happen then?
This is similar to what I wanted to ask. Do we believe that...
I mean, that's a fair question, but go ahead.
Like every female... Well, first of all, women and men, we both have testosterone and estrogen, right?
Yeah.
And it can be imbalanced. So I feel like it depends on the person, and we can't like box everything in.
Sure.
Well, yeah,
Going back
but
to
we
health.
can take a look at statistical averages, and another important data point is that although when men tend to do domestic violence, the damage can be greater, women are more likely to initiate domestic violence than men, and men are less likely to report it than women are.
Because they're less likely to be believed.
I'll give you that.
Yeah.
I want to go back to the draft really quick.
Yeah, go for it.
I wanted to go back to you two guys. I think both of you said no, women shouldn't be drafted. I was just curious, why not?
I think because there's a difference between men and women. Because men are, physically stronger, and like,
Sure.
I feel like, I don't know, if you enlist everybody, then.
So can I ask you a question, a follow-up on that? So you say men are physically stronger. Do you think then, if that's the case, if women shouldn't be subject to forced military conscription, should women be barred from volunteering for the military?
No, I think.
Well, why? So why are they barred from forced military conscription, but they're able to volunteer? Because it occurs to me, like, for example, in peacetime, or in wartime, there could perhaps be a greater need for more soldiers. Whereas in peacetime, do you need them?
Women just join the military so they can get free college.
Oh, wow.
Wait, so men are stronger. That's
Even
why.
though the benefit isn't really even happening anymore.
And then what about you? You said women should not be drafted. Why is that?
Well, when I said it was for the same reason that like men are physically stronger, and I was for what you said about like volunteering. I feel like the women who choose to volunteer would be physically strong as well, but like.
Oh, were you going to come in on this? Or?
Okay, well then, yeah, I'm not going to deny men are physically stronger. That's just a thing. But then, you were saying how, women have to use their brain because they got to make up for what they lack in strength, right? So then who's to say that the brains can't be used in situations in the military as well?
Well, that would be a great point as well, except for this thing called greater male variability, which if you look at, you can look at a number of different metrics. I was just on Timcast and we were talking about grip strength as an example,
I saw that.
but you can do it with IQ, you can do it with all different measures of aptitude. And what we see is that women tend to cluster around the mean more than men. And there's this small percentage of men and in anything that are so much better at everybody else that it's like not even close. So as a woman, if you're trying to be a CEO, a general in the military, a strategist in the military, trying to be a police officer, a detective, anything like that, you're going to have to compete with this tiny top tier of men that is going to be so far ahead of you that the odds of you beating them are very, very small, which is why even after 100 years of equality, we don't see a lot of women at the top of these highly competitive pursuits, like being a CEO, like being a 4-star general in the military, like being the president, things like that. So it's one of the differences that makes it really tough for women to compete. So even if you're very smart for a woman, you may not be able to compete with that top tier of men.
I don't like that.
Statistically.
So you're saying men are just naturally smarter?
Well,
I'm
you
saying
mentioned
that
the
the top-
variability
yes,
thing, right?
the
Nick, can you pull that up? We'll just
Yeah.
look at it. So
Okay.
there's this, this is like, Nick, can you make it smaller, please? Yeah. And then I'm also going to find you just the article. Hold on. I'm sending that to you in private chat. Pull that up, please. Get it quick if you can. So it's this idea that I think isn't it even the case that women are on average smarter,
Yes.
or is it?
There's
wait.
more of us that are in that middle gathering around the
Yeah.
mean.
So I'll read this really quick.
But the men who are smartest are way ahead. Generally.
The variability hypothesis, also known as the greater male variability hypothesis, is the hypothesis that males generally display greater variability in traits than females. Pull that one back up, Nick, the chart. Just click on it. Okay, so basically what they're saying is that there's more stupid men. There's there's a lot more dumb men.
Sure.
But there's also a greater proportion of really, really smart men.
Okay.
But then there's more women who are in the middle.
Right.
Okay, then that kind of goes back to my point, though. Then if there's more women in the middle, then what's the harm then of actually? Because that means we're having greater odds of having smart women than we are. We're risking more by having a.
I'm not
defined a
saying
higher
smart women
IQ.
can't do smart girl things. I'm
No,
a smart woman who does smart
Yeah,
girl things.
clearly.
But when we're talking about who should be at the apex of society running things, generally men are going to have the monopoly on force, strength,
Okay.
cognitive skills, leadership skills, social skills. They're just that top bit of men are going to be so far ahead.
Okay, but going back to your point, then how does that affect the draft? Because that's not the
Well,
top tier. That draft
no,
is
but
just.
the draft is just you have to be physically capable, and you
Sure.
are a tiny girl.
I know.
If you had to jump in tomorrow and do the PT prescriptions that men have when
literally
they join
have
the
a booster
military,
seat.
yeah, you couldn't do it. And I'm a really strong girl. I've done powerlifting and weightlifting
Yeah.
for years. I've got a 250 pound for 5 reps deadlift right now. I've got a 200-pound squat. But you put me next to a man who's my size that doesn't even
Okay.
train, and he's going to whoop my ass.
But for example, what if there's an emergency situation, when you're out in the field, I think I'm okay to say this, the more likely to see a man just kind of brute his way through it rather than think how can we problem solve this so nobody gets more injured or in a less risky situation, I should say. You know what
So
I'm
you
trying
think
to say?
that on average women are more strategic than
No,
men?
I'm not saying
or-
strategic, but I mean, if we're looking at the mean average of, the brain kind of thing, sorry, then, wouldn't it be fair to say that they're going to be more able to look at those situations better than the average we're seeing based off the graph you gave us?
I'm not really sure what you're asking. I'm not
So,
really sure where you're going.
in those risky situations, then if the mean average is that, the women are gonna overall have a decent IQ, then they'd be more likely to handle those risky situations where we really need to think about it than, say, the average we're going to find.
That's not really how it works. And when you're entering the military, they test you.
Sure, I know
so
that.
If you're below a certain IQ, you're not going to be in the field doing certain things for
Yes.
that
Are
Are you
reason.
I
saying
know.
that we assess risk differently?
Right.
And men do not take as much time to assess those risks and they
Right.
just jump right in.
Well,
Yeah.
women are more risk averse, but usually in a military situation, that's going to be bad.
Well, yes. No, you want to be on your toes because, of course, you never know what's going to happen.
Women are very conflict avoidant, and on average, they don't want to be in the military.
Well,
for that
well,
reason.
here's the thing then. Then why is there a problem having an equal amount, an equal opportunity for drafting men and drafting women then? So that means we're having equal risk takers and equal, maybe not risk takers. Do we want that fair bit of
So
both?
what you're telling me is, all throughout human history, armies have been made of men.
Sure.
And now, because it's 2024 and technology, we should put all of Like, look at the table of ladies here. You all are lovely. You're probably great singers. You're beautiful. But do I want you on the front lines fighting? No, I don't.
Sure, I get that.
I
see what you're
want
saying, too.
women
Like,
on the front lines. I'm a feminist.
So she's
Send them.
all for
You know what? I
equality.
think we do a total switch up. Men don't get drafted, and we just draft for the women. Use the women as meat shields for a little bit. Soften the enemy up a little bit. Then the men can come in.
I'm not
and take
saying-
care
I
of
think
the,
something that's
Take care of
interesting-
it. We'll
I
take
think-
care of it. The women soften them up.
I think something that's interesting is that you're saying we have equal portions of men and women entering the military, but then what you would have to do is you would have to separate those roles once they enter the military, and then then it's not equal anymore. So what is the point of doing that?
I do get what you're saying. Well, I mean, based off the physical stuff like we're talking about again, I think that would have to depend on the woman. I mean, look at some of the women in the Olympics; they could totally do it, right?
Could they?
Yeah, I mean,
like who?
But
mean,
those
first
are
of all,
also outliers as well.
like 1%.
I know they're outliers,
So
but
we're like when we're talking about this kind of stuff, you have to think about in general,
Yes.
the women in general and bigger numbers.
sure.
Olympians
I'm
are.
not denying that. I think, if anything, if we are going to have a draft with women, we need to. I mean, we all have to go through a physical, even if we're being drafted, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, we then assess. Okay, what can we best put them to?
Well, then, like,
Then it's
most women are not going to meet the requirements. And
Well, it depends on the
remember
position.
that they've opened up all of the special forces to women for, 20, 30 years now? 20 years, something like that? Not a single woman has been able to pass Navy SEALs or BUDS or, like, the different Green Beret training. Women just can't do it.
Well, and going
So,
along
wait, speaking of that-
with that, I wouldn't want them to lower that standard so that women could.
They
right?
do.
No, I'm not-
No.
I-
But here's the thing.
Oh, they have to
It
do,
is
like,
a
less
different
push-ups
standard.
and
It is a
whatnot.
different
Yeah.
standard. And this isn't just for the military. It's for police force, firefighters.
Yeah.
So I think for the military, there's a speed test in terms of being
it's a
able to
lie.
complete
None of it
a
is really
mile or I
equal.
don't know
Right,
how long
right.
it is.
Yeah.
It's a lie.
Push-ups.
Well, this is the thing is
these things.
women always will say, like, we want to be equal, so you have to let us do these things. You have to, first of all, if they have to let you, it's not equal.
Right.
Second of all, if they have to lower the standard for you to get in, it's also not equal. So it's all just this illusion, this silly illusion, and I don't want to. I'm sick of it. I think that
She's sick of it.
I think that in the not so distant future, a few generations from now, they're going to look back on this feminist experiment and go, "Whoa, that was a disaster. Glad we got rid of that," because it's simply not sustainable. We can't even keep going with it because birth rates have tanked.
Right.
Right.
No.
So either
Tanked.
maybe it won't go away, and then humanity will just go extinct.
There will be a reset, and like people always ask me what I think it'll be, and I think it's going to be painful and ugly. There's like a couple ways it could go, but it's not going to be fun for anyone when it happens.
How do you
Whoever
anticipate
gets
it going?
AI first, we're in trouble. I don't know. It could be China. Who knows what happens? Okay. One thing related to this, just I don't know. Who's physically stronger, men or women? Starting with you.
Well, men.
I haven't denied it. It is still men.
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 Okay. All right. Just wanted to check here. We've heard.
We have had some.
We've had some women.
some girls.
There are some weenie men, but it's
say-
fine.
And
There are
I'll
some
even
weenie men,
grant
for sure.
there are women out there who can be stronger than men.
Yeah, and there's
who
some
can
that
lift
be
more,
average,
who can
but
beat men up.
yeah.
But I saw that grip strength thing, and we've pulled that up before too. I mean, the vast majority of men are stronger than women. So, anyways, let's see. Let's get into actually kind of sort of related to the feminist conversation a little bit. I don't know if we'll linger too long on the actual debate of it, but I do at least want to get your answers. So the question is, after
Ben
this one.
George donated $200. Last one. Do the ladies believe in evolution? If so, men evolved into their role, because men have been primarily on the front lines and pushed mentally and physically. Join a SEAL team, ladies.
Okay, Ben George, thank you, man. Do you believe in evolution?
Yes.
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
I don't know.
What does the LDS
I
have
was
to say about
actually
this?
I was just thinking about that because we believe in Adam and Eve, and I have had discussions with family members about this, but I don't feel like I've ever gotten an answer. So I don't know.
Okay, what about you?
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't.
Don't believe in evolution?
No.
Wait, aren't you a bio major?
Yes.
Rachel?
No, evolution is fake and gay.
Okay. Cool. Okay, thank you, Ben George. Appreciate it, bro. Appreciate it. Okay. So let's see here. We have, yes. Okay, man or bear? Would you rather come across a random man or a random bear in the woods? Starting with you. Go ahead.
Can you come back to me? I don't know.
Okay, we'll come back. Go ahead.
I'm like, a man.
Man?
Yay.
Oh, come on.
No. Guys, let people answer. Don't try to force them. Go ahead.
No, I give a man.
Wait, hold on. Did somebody pressure you?
No, I don't get pressured. I have my own thoughts.
You were thinking about the.
I was just gonna say, a bear. This is gonna sound crazy, but if I'm in the woods and then a bear approaches me and I did not have time to research a bear.
Wait.
Grid 1 Motorsports donated $200.
Yo, thank you, Good One. Appreciate
Songbird,
it.
feminism has failed you. Your lies to yourself are failing you. The patriarchy stands ready to help. Submit and be saved from your irrational thoughts. Be better.
Okay, thank you, Grid 1 Motorsports, man. Good to see you in the chat. Thank you, man. You were saying?
Let's say that men can be pretty unpredictable. I'll give you that. But I choose men. I would rather be in the woods with the man.
A man.
A man.
Man.
A man.
I'm still on the fence about it just
Just
because
you
I've
gotta
had
pick.
like
Got
weird things happen.
instant.
I'm gonna say bear.
Say bear. Rachel, what about you?
Oh, man.
Okay.
There's an article on my Substack where I go over the last 45 years of data about men and whether or not the primary risk to women is men, and it's absolutely not. Like, unequivocally, not even close. Your husband or the man in your life poses like far less risk to you than you've been led to believe by propaganda.
What was the largest risk?
The riskiest situation for a woman is to be in a cohabitation situation with a guy that she's sleeping with.
Wow.
Whereas far and away the safest is to be living with your married husband and children, like by a factor of 12 times. And it was a major talking point of feminism in the 60s and 70s that men are these abusers, they're alcoholics, they're going to beat you, and so you have to be able to leave and you have to be able to cohabitate, or you have to just be able to remain unattached so that you can get away if he turns out to be a bad guy. But it turns out that when you take the primary person out of your life who has an interest in providing for you and protecting you, you actually put yourself at much greater risk, and you end up with the kind of guys who are going to pump you and dump you and be bad to you and treat you like garbage because they have no vested interest in long-term what's your best interest. So, like, the data's super overwhelming on it.
Why do you pick bear? Just curious.
I've just been through like a lot of things with men. I was
Sure.
assaulted as a kid, and a couple of my first experiences in like sexually was also that, but like in high school. So I just feel like I don't know. I'd rather be mauled than go through that again. But that's just based off my experiences, not just based off of statistics.
But okay, keep in mind, this is a random man or a random bear. So the random man could be, the overwhelmingly likely to either leave you alone or be helpful in some sort of woods situation.
But I'm like, why are we both standing in the middle of the woods? Like,
I think you're overthinking
I
the
feel
scenario
like
a little bit, but
in the middle of nowhere in the woods, you're probably a serial unaliver.
No way. Serial
Well, hold on.
Well, you're not going to
Then
find
why
no
are you in the
victims
middle of
out
the
in
woods?
Yeah, the man's going to be in the
Maybe they
woods
want
because he's
vacation.
hunting
Maybe
or
he did too.
hiking or doing bro
well,
stuff.
here's the scenario though. So it's like a random man. So you, of the entire U.S. population, you're just plucking a random man out of it. So you can't even think of what are the motivations for him being there. It's like both of you just get plucked into the woods. But you are coming across, so you will come across a random man or a random bear. You will get into contact.
I just still.
So if you were to like roll the dice and you just randomly get put into a situation with a random man, what do you think is like the chance of any given man, a random man, having wanting to harm you in some way, wanting to assault you in some way?
So if Jeffrey Dahmer was in the woods versus the bear, what would you rather?
No. The question is what, like, okay, what's the population of the U.S.? Over 300 million, 150?
Yeah.
So it's
So
like
you're
150.
You're basically saying that you statistically think that there's a more chance that the man is going to be wicked and evil towards you.
I'm not even thinking statistically. I'm thinking personally. Like,
Well,
I'm
okay,
thinking
but
based off of-
sure, but it's a random man, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I was also thinking I could probably outrun a guy. I cannot outrun a bear, especially in their natural habitat.
Yeah. I
There's
don't think
no
I could
way.
outrun either.
You're all
Okay, well, that being said, a bear, we know for sure, will, if we get too close, is gonna cause harm.
Let me ask you a different question.
Yeah.
Would you rather, let's say you see a man at a campfire and then you see like a bear at a campsite who's like ruffling through some like food or something. Who would you rather go up and pat on the head 3 times?
Well,
The man
obviously-
or the bear?
Obviously, the man.
Okay. Here's a different scenario. You're on the top floor of a burning building.
I'm so glad I'm not dating donated
Hey, good to see you, dude.
$200.
It's been a while.
If my wife was
Thank you,
hiking
man.
through the woods, alone, she's 5'4" plus 110 pounds, say I wasn't present, I would rather her come across another random man rather than a bear 100% of the time. Irrational.
Thank you. I'm so glad I'm not dating. Good to see you back in the chat, dude. Okay, here's the other scenario. You're on the top floor of a burning building for an appointment. You don't work there, so you don't know like the people in the building, whatever. Top floor of a burning building. The stairs burning. There's 2 elevators, top floor. There's a man in one of the elevators and a bear in the other elevator, and you're trying to get to the bottom. Which elevator do you go into? The one with the random man or the one with the bear?
Well, I feel like the answer is obvious, the one with the man in it, because
Okay.
we're both trying to escape something.
Okay. Good times. All right, well, there it is. I feel like I need to ask that question, like, show of hands, because I feel like some of you would have said bear.
I thought about it.
I think some of you would have said bear, but then she said, man, look at that. Good for you.
I'm reasonable here.
Yeah,
Come
you're
on.
reasonable. Okay, there you go. That's good. That's good. All right, so we did man versus bear. Let's do, wait, actually, Grid 1 Motorsports. He's still in the chat. He mentioned the patriarchy.
He did.
Do you guys want to, this is definitely dating related, do you guys want to smash the patriarchy? Should we smash?
I don't
Smash
even
the
understand
patriarchy.
necessarily like what we're talking about here when we say the patriarchy.
Well, so like, you know, feminism, one of the core tenets of feminism is there's the patriarchy theory. Patriarchy.
Okay.
Do you want to smash it? Should we get rid of the patriarchy?
I feel like I just don't care enough. But
Okay, cool. What about you?
I think there are certain aspects where it's just naturally going to happen, and I think there's some places where maybe there could be more leeway. That's it. That's really it.
So is there a patriarchy?
These days, I want to say just like a smidge. It really depends on where you're looking. You'd have to look. That's the thing. Yeah.
Don't be shy. I see that you want to say something, and I want you to.
Oh, I was making a joke in my
chitty-chat.
head like, yeah, I want to smash the patriarchy, but not smash the patriarchy, if you know what I meant.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know? I think that there could be some tweaks, but I don't want to end it. No.
Okay.
No, we should not get rid of the patriarchy.
No, we should not get rid of it.
I think I also don't really know what the patriarchy is that much.
Do you feel like, so when feminists talk about the patriarchy, they're usually saying there's this historic conspiracy of men to control women, to keep them under their boot, to prevent them from having power or free will or like the choice to leave or do what they want, right? There's this effort among men in general to keep women like under their foot a little bit, to keep them down. Do you feel like that's a thing?
Maybe in the past, but not so much now.
Okay.
Yeah, same. I feel like we all can pretty much do what we want. So
Okay, question. What are we gonna do about the men that think that they can lead but they can't? We're supposed to just let them like run shit? I mean, I don't see that.
Well, can you give me an example of a man who thinks he can lead but doesn't?
So it could be like, if we're talking about the patriarchy in general, we could talk about a president. I don't want to pick one and say like what I think, but I'm not gonna say every man is gonna be great to lead and they like that's been in office.
So do you guys assume then that when we're talking about like patriarchy that all men have dominion over all women, or do we think that there's a hierarchy among men?
I can respect that.
Yeah. And I think one thing that feminism did unintentionally that's been really destructive for everybody is it destroyed that hierarchy among men. And now what you have, because you used to have the like more alpha type of men,
We used to.
keeping down the like beta cuck type of like, you know, the gamma type of males who are just jealous and resentful, and they think that they're like, I should be having a girlfriend, she should like me, but she only likes that 6 foot tall football player, and I'm gonna show her, you know, those type
Like
of guys.
a girl, basically.
Yeah.
Yes.
They used to bully those guys into their proper place.
I
and,
love that.
like,
We need to
keep
bring it back.
Yeah, keep them kind of like where they need to be, keep them in line a little bit. But what feminism and egalitarianism did was kind of like take that away. So now you do have these feminine, by the way, feminist men, okay? All they're trying to do is what?
Get women.
Yeah, they're just they're trying to fuck,
Yeah,
right? So
pretty much.
they're not honest dudes. They're not gonna be leaders. They're gonna be shitheads. They're gonna be impersonators. They're gonna be the kind of dudes that you don't want. And it used to be that you had to compete for a wife. You know, back in the day, like you had to prove to a man that you could support his daughter, that you could take care of her, that you were worthy of marrying her. Now we all just like go for the guy who like we all pick the wrong dudes, right? Very often we pick the wrong guy because some of them have adapted and figured out how to manipulate and sneak their way in, and like the guy who you friend zoned forever, and then the minute you break up with your boyfriend, he's like right there with a bottle of wine and like, oh honey, you know, like he's trying to use what he can to get what he wants. So
Right.
like they act like females. They act sneaky and they use manipulation and subterfuge and gossip and things like that to get girls. And so we end up with these dudes, right?
Can I ask? So, you know, I know people who are like that, and I know people who are feminists who aren't like that. Yeah.
I'm so glad I'm not dating donated $200. He's a perfect match. You go to his house. One of his rooms, properly locked, in his house is filled with guns and ammo reloading equipment, including multiple AR-15 rifles. Whatever do you do?
What if it's just for protection? Like, you know, like he feels like the need to protect his home, and he's one of those people that likes to collect things. I don't know. If it's properly locked, then that doesn't have anything to do with me, I guess.
So you'd be okay with it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what the question is asking.
Oh, okay. Then, yeah, I'd be okay with it.
I mean, I'd ask, like, are you using it for hunting purposes? You know, I know hunters, they're fine. But then also, I mean, if it's not, why do you need an AR-15? Exactly, that's it.
Grid 1 Motorsports donated $200. I am the patriarchy. We value women and protect them, especially from themselves. We die so you don't have to. Excepting Mrs. Wilson, you lot know so little of my work, yet speak in ignorance. Be better.
Okay, should we continue with the gun question? Yeah. Okay, what do you think?
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really fully hear the question, but
You date a guy, he's the perfect match, everything about him is perfect, but you go to his house and he's got a locked room that's filled with all kinds of guns, a bunch of AR-15s.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
Okay.
Yeah, no problem. Probably ask him what his favorite one is.
Period.
Sounds like my house, so
Okay.
happy with
It's
it.
my dad's house. Not really.
I mean, I would ask like questions of like what they're for, but like I probably wouldn't have a problem with it.
I would be okay as long as it's secured and, you know, safe.
I would be cool with it. I'd probably say,
Prefer
where's
it?
the AK-47s? But
Period.
Yeah, that's a big question.
Like, why only one type?
AR-15 is the most popular rifle, I think, in America, but has its
some other
limits.
ones, yeah.
They're fun though.
Would you guys change your answer if he just thought they were cool? Like he really just liked guns?
I also think they're cool.
Right.
I'm
That's
a
what I was
firearms
gonna ask.
instructor, so
It's
Yeah,
fine.
my dad was in the
Yeah.
Navy, so.
Wait, maybe show of hands. Who said no to the?
We all
No one
we were
said no.
fine with it.
Yeah.
Everyone's fine with it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I guess it's like, what would be the motivation if he, like, if he didn't want? Well, I'm like completely fine with it, but if the answer was not to protect himself, what would it be?
Maybe he
You know what I
collects
mean?
things. Like, I don't know, or goes hunting, or
Because I think the main motivation that every man has a gun is to
protect
protect themselves and protect his home. So
Mm-hmm.
And it's similar to why guys like cars. They like cool mechanical stuff that they can take apart and modify and do fun things with, and it makes things go boom, and it's fun.
do you have any
All right.
questions, Rachel?
Do I have any questions?